Hi, I'm just gonna jump in here for 1 second to give you the heads up. My holistic skincare expert class is now open for enrollment. We start on the 1st of November. And if you would like to know how to create beautiful, organic, healthy, wholesome skincare yourself, tailored to your needs, go over to my website and check out the expert class, read through it, sleep on it, let it sink in. And if you wake up still thinking about this class and having this little tingly feeling in your gut, you know this one is for you. So I really hope to welcome you on the 1st of November. If you have any questions, please reach out to me directly. And now we will head over and get started with the podcast. Enjoy. Hi guys, Maria here. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have a very special friend and guest joining me for this episode. I'm very excited. So AINI is not just a colleague, she's also a friend. We used to live together more than 10 years ago in London. That's where we met. And we just said it's incredible how far we've come, and just it's so cool to see friends also fulfilling their dreams. And I'm just gonna make it quick. So AINI basically started as an event planner specialized in high class weddings, and then she quit her job, went traveled the world, and found herself in a situation where she's like, do I go back to London? Do I just pursue my old life, or do I start something completely new? And she started a complete new business from scratch and became the queen of calligraphy in Finland. And how that happened and what exactly happened and all the things in between, we're going to talk about in this episode. And I'm very excited to share this with you, because what I love about her, she's very honest about what's going on. So she also gives you the talk you need to hear. So it's not just all the social media bubble and oh, look how amazing everything is. She's also very honest of it is amazing, but it also comes with a price. There's also a downside, and it's tough to be self-employed and to start from scratch. And especially if you are doing a job, a business that doesn't really exist yet, or at least not in the country. However, how she did it, what she did, and how she actually, made it to, become literally, at least for me, the queen of calligraphy. That's what we're talking about in this episode. And now, enjoy the episode. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, AINI. I am so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited as well.
Yes, so I cannot wait. We were just before we were just catching up, because AINI and I, we know each other personally. We used to live together in London, and we just said how much time has passed and how it all changed. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump in right there and just
Sure.
let you explain a little bit about how you started. So your first career in London, and then obviously so now having two companies, or one company with, but you're gonna explain all about this and how you basically went from you just said a wedding planner to becoming the queen of calligraphy. And I'm just so excited to really have you take us on a journey.
Amazing. So luxury London wedding planner to a digital nomad business owner of today. Um, so my first career was in London, and that's when we lived together as well, and where we know each other from. I'm from Finland, but I moved to London, or I moved to the UK to spend my gap year after my high school. So I went to England and really liked it there, made some friends and wanted to stay, and applied for university. And I was really excited about the event management. And so I was quite excited. So where I was working in my gap year was this hotel restaurant, and they did a lot of weddings and parties, and there was an event manager there, and she was this very glamorous woman called Emma, and I loved working with her. And everything she did was just very exciting and very kind of glamorous, and she had all of these amazing clients. And then I was just kind of playing with the idea of, oh, what if I didn't go back home to Finland? What if I stayed in the UK and went to university here? And I found a university course in event management. And I was like, yes, I can be like Emma. This is amazing. So I applied, got into uni, went to university, got my degree in events management. And then all of this time, I was still in England. I still didn't want to go back home. So I applied for jobs in London. And I graduated with my event management degree in 2012, which is when the London Olympics were being organized. And I applied for a job there, got a job, had the most amazing time, such an exciting role in the venue management team. And, we had a venue, the rowing venue in London, which was like 30,000 people on venue on the competition days, and it was just such a learning curve. I just came out of uni. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just learning so much every single day. Um, so that was my first job. And then after that, I got a more of a regular role, and that was as a wedding planner. So I was working for this catering and event firm and having wedding clients, some other private parties as well, some corporate parties, but mainly weddings. So I was talking about flowers and cakes and, music and catering and all of this with my clients. And um, yeah, what did I just say? I was never going to have a career in wedding planning. I just said to you, I don't even really believe in marriage that much, but there I was, kind of like an accident. Um, and yeah, after 2 years of that, I realized that maybe this job isn't taking me where I want to go. And I had a big dream that I want to travel. I want to backpack around the world. And I was 26. Most people do this backpacking around the world when they are like 19 or 20, but I never had the chance. So I thought maybe now is my chance. So I quit my job. I got out of the flat that we were
I
sharing.
know, it was so sad. It was so sad. Like an era ended. It really did.
An era ended. I left London. I packed all of my stuff and I left traveling. So 8 months, I was in Southeast Asia. I was in South America,
I'm
had the
getting
best
goosebumps.
time.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
And I was like, I'm literally living my dream. This is amazing. I love seeing these new places and, traveling and really low budget, like shitty hostels and dorm rooms and cockroaches and all of this. But I was loving life.
Yeah.
Mm, And then whilst I was traveling, my idea was always to come back to London and look for a new job. But whilst there on like some quiet beach somewhere, I don't know, in Colombia, I was looking out at the sea and I thought, why do I want to go back to London? Like it's such a hectic, high-paced, demanding, competitive working environment. And I decided to maybe move back to Finland now. And then after traveling, I moved back to Finland. I got a job again in events, doing corporate events, whatever. And then slowly I was like, fulfilling my dream of traveling and backpacking was so fun. I loved it. And I have this other dream, which is to start my own business. And I kind of started putting my thoughts and energy into that. And whilst I was working a daytime job, I got into something called modern calligraphy, which is basically calligraphy is drawing letters like old school calligraphy, but this is a modern style where you use the same equipment like you did in the, I don't know, 16th century England, where you did calligraphy with a fountain pen or like a quill pen.
Yeah.
But you have a more modern style and you can use your creativity. And this is something that I had already seen in London in the wedding industry, but now I got really into doing it myself. And I started learning calligraphy, and then I took part. I'm now going to fast forward. I took part in this um, charity project, and there I was needing to find a way to raise some funds.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was 2016, and I was in this project. We were raising funds for Nepal after the earthquake. They really needed help and money, and we were raising funds. And that was the first time I was like, "Hey, I have this calligraphy skill, and I'm really excited about this. Why don't I try to sell something that I have
Yeah.
created?" So I created some calligraphy products, put them to sale, and people bought them.
Yeah.
And then someone asked me, "Hey, I have a wedding coming up. Can you, with your beautiful handwriting, can you make my placement cards? Or can you actually create an invitation?" So then I was on Google going, oh, YouTube going, oh, tutorial, how to do graphic design.
Yes, yes, yes.
So really learning from the beginning. But I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, of course I'll make your wedding invitations. Why not? Like, for sure. And then for the whole year, I was learning, using a lot of YouTube tutorials, making a lot of mistakes, but also saying yes to everything people were requesting from me. And um, and yeah, I did a couple of wedding clients already then, and everything, all the proceedings, everything was going to the charity
Mm.
project. So for me, it was just free work, but I was learning a lot.
Mm.
And so that was 2016. And then the next year, the charity project was over, but people had found me and my work, and I kept on receiving requests. And I was like, I was working a day job, and I
Mm.
spoke with my boss. I was like, listen, I have these customers, but I don't have a registered company. Like, is it okay with you if I have a little side business?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, sure, have fun with it. And that moment I was like, I'm going to make this big. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make this full time one day. Like, this was the first step for me realizing maybe there is potential here. Like, I had seen that calligraphy products sell. There is no one
Yeah.
else doing this in Finland. This is big
Yeah.
in the UK already at the
Yeah.
time. No one else is doing it in Finland. And so I started getting I had my side business doing calligraphy evenings and weekends. I was working. I had a desk in the corner of my bedroom at
Mm.
home, and that's
Mm.
where I was creating all of this artwork. And 1.5 years of side hustling, I then took it full time. So I've been a full time calligrapher since 2018, and it's been a journey already. That has been a journey itself. What started as a bit of like a wedding
Yeah.
calligraphy business, then I ended up running workshops and teaching other people how to do calligraphy. And I think um, that's really something that I enjoy a lot. And then COVID happened, and I had all of this
Yeah.
work and all of these weddings and all of these workshops, and then suddenly the world closed and people couldn't meet. So all the weddings were cancelled, all the workshops were cancelled. And then someone said, why don't you do an online course? And I was like, oh, well, there's an idea.
Yeah.
So something I was
I love
never
it.
interested in before this.
Yeah.
And yeah, did an online course. It was a success, something that I still sell. I was just sharing that I'm in the middle of the biggest launch yet with this exact course. So I created a product that I'm still launching again and again and again, which is amazing. And it's also transformed my calligraphy career from wedding and physical
Mm.
products and workshops to online based teaching, which means that I can reach so many more people. And also, I can have an online based business, which allows me to, travel at the same time.
Yeah.
And then that's what I've been kind of focusing on, more digital products, and really making the physical business into a digital business for the last few years. And part-time digital nomading, so escaping the European winter to an exotic location every year. And so this is where we are now.
Yeah, crazy, crazy. 2018. It was my big year too. And I want to say, like, I still remember where I was. I was sitting in the car in front of my apartment in Cape Town. And I also was at a point where I had to decide, okay, what do I do? Go back to London, or, I wanted to stay in Cape Town. And I was like, okay, what can I do? And I could not, my work visa would not allow me to actually found a business in Cape Town. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, brainstorming, what can I do? Okay, let's set up an online shop in Europe. And then, I still live here, but then I'm registered in Europe and then I will get the visa. And I called you, or I don't know if I called Tina, our ex-flatmate and friend from London as well. We still had our groups going. I was like, hey girls, I want to, I'm going to start my business here and I'm going to move to Cape Town. And then you said, hey, listen, I just started my business as well. Like, I can help you with your logo design and whatever you need. And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I wouldn't, like, I'm still so glad what you designed was so amazing. And I knew because you know me. And that is just, I mean, that's just the extra on top, the extra bonus when someone like you are very creative and you can bring this vision alive. And then you also literally locked onto my brain and completely, like, you really made visible what I had, yeah, on my mind. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad. And like knowing it also comes from a friend who also just started the company. And yeah, to this date, it's still AINI'S artwork on my labels, and I love it.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, and thank you so much. Um, and yeah, I did do some logo design work as well, but
Mm,
yours was definitely my favorite, but only one, also one of the only few projects that I did.
yeah,
And I think it was also at the beginning. So
yeah,
as we know, like at the beginning of when you start your company, you just say yes to everything.
yeah,
Any opportunity,
yeah,
anything that comes your way, anything that you get a little bit excited about, you're just like, yes, I'll do it. And
yeah,
then you kind of learn and and create. And then slowly you realize, oh, I want to
yeah.
put my focus into that direction. And logo design was maybe something that I didn't then go into that much further, but I did a few jobs. Um, and it was such a learning curve, but I love the fact that this is still alive.
Yeah,
Like it's still the same design and artwork. It's
yeah,
so
it is.
amazing.
It is. And people love it as well. But yeah, it's just so real. And what I love about you is because usually people want to make it like perfect. And it was a hand drawn. So the logo came from my mother actually. She was like, hey, I can draw something. I'm like, yeah, mom, you go. And then she showed me a few things. And I was like, mom, that's it. That is the one. And then I said, okay, now I need that digital and I want like a branding, like my Green Planet Cosmetics. And then you came in with your beautiful handwriting and you also made it digital. And I was like, but please don't make it perfect. I want every little, I want still this imperfect thing my mom drew. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, Aini, you did it. It's so beautiful.
It is still based on the same drawing. So I didn't turn it into a digital copy of the drawing, but
Yeah,
I just vectorized
yeah.
what your mum had drawn. So it's actually not a logo by me. It's actually a logo by your mum with a little help of
With the
me.
yes, exactly, with Aini's handwriting, literally.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. But what you also like, yeah, no, everything. I could just go on and on and on. It's a shame that you are not into that because, like, you are so good at it. But luckily for everyone else now, you are available literally worldwide. People can just ask for your input. So
Yeah, and you have something very unique.
yes, that's true. Yes, exactly. It's still this little memory. I love it. I love it. Makes it extra special. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that was yeah, awesome. I just like had that throwback of it. Like, this isn't it crazy? Like how we were all like meeting up in London. Never supposed to stay. It was so transit. London for me is always very transit. And now suddenly, yeah, suddenly 10 years later or even more, we're like having our own businesses and just fulfilling our dreams, which are also ever evolving. So we also just, talked about that, what it's like when you start, you do this. And then that's also one thing in Germany, for instance. People are very much like, you do this and now you are settled in and you are safe and sound and that is it. And so many people by the end of 20, like in their late 20s or 30, that's what they do, and they do it until they retire. And that's so sad.
I recognize this as well, and I think with a lot of people that I maybe work with or um, in my that are in my group of friends, it feels like quite often when especially women have children and they take some leave from work, and that's the first time maybe in their life that they kind of leave the rat race So they've always gone study, 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 work, 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 career, career, next step on the ladder, get a house, get a family. All of this is like very predetermined, the steps that you kind of have to take in
Yes.
your adult life.
Yeah.
And then you take some time off work with a new baby. I mean, not saying everyone does this, but this is quite common, I think. You take some time off and you focus on something that is very dear to you, very, very amazing, and completely stops the rat race and puts your focus into something else.
Yeah.
And then with that time, at least in Finland, the mothering leave is often quite a long, it's several months,
Yeah.
up to a year, 1.5 years, something like this. So people realize that maybe they don't want to go back to the rat race as it was.
Mm.
Maybe they want something a little bit more meaningful with their lives.
Mm.
And it's understandable. It's very common. It happens often. And I love the fact that there is this opportunity for people to really reflect, like, what do I want from life?
Mm.
But I consider myself really, really lucky that I think that this world trip that I was mentioning, when I was away for 8 months,
Yeah.
I didn't work. I was just in
Yeah.
these beautiful locations and really had time
Yeah.
for myself to reflect, like, how has my life been up to this point? And what do I want it to be like after this?
Yeah.
And that to me is like one of the most, I don't know, transformative experiences that I've had in my life. And I don't think it requires for you to go somewhere really far and
Mm-hmm.
be somewhere really
Mm-hmm.
exotic, but it just requires for you to have a little time off your life. If you've been running, like, we just, when we're young and in our like teens and like early 20s, we just take everything that's
Yeah.
given to us. Like, this is what success looks like. This is what you have to do to have a good life. And then at some point you hopefully start to question it.
Yeah.
And the trip was for me, that's when I started questioning everything. And ever since I feel like I've been living my life and not just something
Yeah.
that someone else has given me.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully agree. With me it happened as well. It was Cape Town. It was literally
Mm.
South Africa was for me because time was completely irrelevant. It didn't time is just different down there. And as you, I had time suddenly to just contemplate. And like you, I was like, what am I doing? We are running around, and everyone who knows London or lived there knows what we're talking about. It's literally you wake up, quick, 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 quick coffee, quick running to the tube, catch the. I mean, the train comes every minute, and yet everyone is running, you know. And but and then you are standing there for over an hour sometimes, like a little tuna can, and then you start your work, and then and then you go home. You have maybe 2 hours to, I don't know, work out because that's what you then also still want to do. Like, let's work out, and then you eat something again very fast, very quickly, and then you go to bed and start all over again. I mean, that was London for me, and
Mm.
I, as you said as well, for me as well. I didn't have time to question it. I was, yeah, and then suddenly it's like this missing piece coming to me while I was in Cape Town, and I was like, wow, and that changed for me also everything inside, and then the outside had to change as well. Yeah,
Oh, well said.
yeah. Yeah, I was wondering, I have that here. I have a few questions I didn't want to forget. But because when you came back from Colombia and you were in the Amazonas as well, in the
Mm-hmm.
Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because I asked you, you crashed in our place when you came back to London just to get your stuff and then head over to Finland. And I was
Yeah.
like, what was your highlight? And I think you mentioned like a ceremony in the rainforest. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of had a feeling that that changed a lot because I still remember what you looked like when you came back and you were in this like transit phase of just processing everything. And back then I have never seen it before because I've never done it. You did it before I did it. And now I know, oh yeah, I know where AINI was at. Like now looking back, I'm like, I totally understand where she was like completely like, boy, I just have to readjust here for a second
Mm-hmm.
because everything changed.
A lot changed. And I think it was that I spent a week in a retreat in the Amazon, and that was towards the tail end of the whole trip. So I'd been already traveling for 6, 7 months at that point, and then it really just kind of gave me the tools, or like the kind of realization that, oh yeah, everything that I've kind of been thinking and reflecting and all of this, like, it's actually true. Like, it's my truth. It's what I really cliched, kind of just felt like I really found back to myself.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. That's well said because many people, when I go back to Germany And these people have never left the country. You know, they know their little bubble. And they're nice. They are nice people. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they just cannot grasp what we are doing. It's too abstract for them. And they always come, yeah, but Maria, you are running away. And I'm like, no, 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 my sweetheart, I'm not running away. I go there to find myself. That's what it is. I'm not running away, but I need to put some space to actually allow myself to just settle and find myself again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, but it's a different, like view of things, how people view what we are doing, or what, for me, it's also traveling. I know what you said is very good. You do not have to travel the world to find that, but for me, it definitely helps to go to other places, to poorer countries as well, because that also puts my perspective. We said that earlier, like, the problems we have are still like first world country problems compared to what other people are struggling with, and that also really puts it back into perspective.
For sure. And that's why I think what you said before we started recording, you said you have found your way back to like a meditation practice.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that to me, it feels like sometimes that is a tool that kind of takes me back to the jungle if and when I need it. And that's beautiful
Yeah.
because it's like it shows me that I don't actually need to physically be somewhere else to sort of find what's there. I just need like silence around me.
Isn't it the hardest though?
Yeah, yeah.
It's easy. It's so simple. Yet I really struggled for a long time. I struggled to really make it a routine. And now
I still never not struggle.
Yeah.
It's still always a struggle for sure.
Same, same. And sometimes it just doesn't work. But then I accept it. Back then I would have said, no, I have to do it now. So I'm very, my will is like, so now I'm also like, and that's an interesting one. I didn't know. Did I read an interview with you? But you said it pretty like on point. You said something about water. And for me, that's what my will has to become. Like I had to learn. I had this very strong will. I always had. That was never my problem to really, search it, find it, kill it. And I will. But now sometimes you find yourself in situations where strength and like this, you have to, doesn't work. You just hurt yourself. So then just my mind now, the strength, I have to turn it into water, something with more liquidity, flow around it, So that for me is still like I'm aware now. I'm on it. And you said something similar. Was that like probably on your Instagram or like an interview? And you said also like what what was the question? What motivated you to do it, or what kept you going, or and you were like, well, I wanted to say the water, like I'm like water or something like that, and I'm like, oh, Aini, I feel you.
I know what you're referring to. Now I know what you mean. It was so I know you want to talk about this, but I took part in this reality show. We'll get back to it. But so a year ago, I was filming, and it was the world is a global format called The Apprentice, and so it's like a business reality show, and the days are crazy. You are filming for, I don't know, 16 hours a day easily, and you are in the morning, you don't know what you're being thrown into, you're giving a crazy task, you have these like business sharks around you who are like ready to do anything, and they are super competitive, and there I am being myself and like vibing and and um and yeah, I've when it was on TV in the spring, and I did very well. I won the whole thing. Let's just spoil
Yeah.
it straight away. But what I was asked in interviews again and again and again is that how did you manage in those situations? So where people were watching this, they saw this like super harsh, like classic business shark, really aggressive, kind of masculine, super like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I was really calm. So when things were kicking off and people were shouting at each other, I would often be like, hey guys, let's, managing the situation, or just kind of taking a step away from it and just being like, let me just do what I'm doing here and let those other people have their arguments and whatever. And so that was my kind of strategy in the show, partly because that's who I am, but also because I noticed that something different is needed to what the usual thing here looks like. Anyway, all these interviews where people are like, how did you manage those situations? Like
Yeah.
people were just going crazy and you were always calm. Like you must be so patient and so just, put together. And I was like, well, actually, what I did a lot, I felt like I couldn't say this into interviews. I was just like, well, I do yoga and meditation and, da da da. But actually, what I did time and time again was we were all staying in a hotel, and the hotel is by a sea, not a beautiful, it's more like industrial area, but still it's by a sea. So I would just walk along the sea every night and just stare at the ocean and just be like, water is flowing. This will pass. Whatever happens today, what happened today, what happens tomorrow, all of this stress, all of this pressure I'm under, all of this will, you know, it's all flowing. It's like water, like it will pass.
Yeah.
Like I was under so much pressure, but I found this calmness just in the flow of the water.
Yeah, the rhythm of life.
Yeah.
Just yeah, yeah. Yeah, I read it and I thought that's very well put. I love it. And I love that you just shared that very openly. Like, I did say this, but what I actually wanted to say was that. It's good.
Yeah, all of these gossipy magazines are just wanting to have something radical from me, or I don't even know what they wanted. They were just like, "How did you manage?" And I was like, "Well, But what I really wanted to say is just like, I guess spend some time in nature and
Yes, yeah.
look at
Yeah.
the ocean sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that would do something good to all of us. And maybe now, like reflecting on this, maybe now I should and would be more brave about saying this out loud as
Yeah.
well in a public media. Back
Yeah.
then, I just felt like, oh, I need to respond in a way that's expected of
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, totally, totally. But yeah, very soon, I mean, we are on a good way to just say it, and then people
Yeah.
are allowed not to like it. It's okay. It's okay
Yes.
that people are like, it's all right. That is your response, and you have a right to have that response. But
I'm, yeah, I'm getting to being okay with someone thinking I'm an absolute hippie and really woo, and that's okay with me. Because, yeah, I am.
yes, right, right. And yeah, that's also like I recorded a podcast as well because I feel that so many people are always like, they're so mean to each other. And I just don't understand. Why can you not be happy? Like, even when I am in a situation where I'm like, oh, damn, I feel like, I'm looking up and I'm like, why me? I'm doing like, I pay my tax, I play by the rules. Why? And then some, but again, I always go back to, hey, there are other people with like like worse. I still have food, and even if I have food once a day, I still have food every day, and I have clean drinking water. So let's calm down, everyone. But still, sometimes I have, this moment of, I just want to feel sorry for myself right now. It's like, but now I forget what I wanted to get to. But I lost it, damn it. I wanted to say something to that, and I'm like, damn, I don't know. It's going to come back to me now. But yeah, I just wanted to share that.
It's gonna come back. I
It's
know. I
going to
have a
come back.
feeling also that
It's
there
going to
is
come
like,
back. Oh, yeah, the hippie. That was that. Like, how that they always like, oh, look at her. And I know you said that to me as well at some point where I was like, just cheering you, like, oh my god, you're just going for you, go for it. And you were like, so many people look at me and was like, oh, look at her going for it. And I was like, yeah, look at you going for it. And I was like, how sad to hear that, my friend, that someone might not be happy for you.
hmm,
What? It's not changing their lives. Like, even if you fail, how is that going to impact their life? It does actually, but in a negative way, because if you are not doing the job you are supposed to do, that is a problem. So, people are benefiting from you doing what you love.
yeah, but it is the space. There is a there is something about taking up some space in a way that is not taken before. What I mean is like when you go to a business reality show to be like something that is not expected from you, as in you are patient, you don't shout at people, you smile, you're friendly, you're like problem solving
Yeah.
in a really nice and gentle way rather than angsty, aggressive way.
Mhm.
Some people hate it because it's somehow triggering, but then some people see it and find it really freaking inspiring.
Mm.
And that's what I found. I received so much feedback saying, wow, it is so refreshing to see someone. It is so inspiring to see someone who feels like me,
Mm.
like someone who's friendly and nice to people,
Mm.
but they still do well and they win a really harsh kind of show. So
Yeah.
that's inspiring. So to me, it's like you have to be good. Like, of course, I was using a lot of skill to succeed, but it doesn't have to mean that you are really, snarky and like
Mm.
awful as a as a human being.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, but there are no one to look up to in this way. Or
Mm.
like I feel like
Yeah.
when I was starting my calligraphy business and there was no one else in Finland doing it, like that's an amazing opportunity. But how do you step into that space when there is no one to look up to? So you really just have to find it from yourself. Like you really have to ask yourself, like how do I do this? Because there is no guidelines. There's no one telling you, oh, do this, do that. Maybe this would be a good idea. You really just need to be like, I'm going to do the best I can in a place, in a like a path that no one's gone down before,
Yeah.
and just go with that. And it's weird and hard, but it's kind of amazing at the same time.
For sure. For sure it is. Yeah. Would you ever go back to like a 9 to 5 job?
Right now, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
I do sometimes when business is hard, or like when there is too much on, or a couple years ago, a few years ago now, I had just come out of a really long relationship and had a hard breakup, and I feel like my life was upside down and I was going through so much heartache, and it was like my
Mm.
personal life was shattering and the world was falling apart, and I was really lost and really just, you know, in a bad place.
Yeah.
I was dreaming that I would go back to like a teenage supermarket job and be at the till and just be people's
Yeah.
shopping day in, day out. Someone will tell me, you come to work at this time,
Yeah.
you leave at this time, you take a break between this and this time. You don't need to think about anything. You don't need to make any decisions. You just sit there and beep shopping.
Mm.
And I thought, that
Mhm.
would be a dream,
Mhm.
because I was so exhausted from everything that was going on in my life. I had no resources, like no energy to focus on growing my business at
Yeah.
the same time. And so, in a situation like this, I'm dreaming of going back to 9 to 5. But to be honest, like when I really think about it, would I actually want to? No.
Yeah. No. No. Did you have like a time where you were like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna quit. Like, fuck it. I quit?
My business?
Yes.
Um, no, never.
Nice.
I
Cool.
honestly, I can't say, wait, what's the cliche? Like, I wouldn't change a day. I couldn't say that. Like,
No.
there are several days that I would happily change
Yeah.
for anything. And it's absolutely never been like every day is just full of sunshine. No
Mm.
way. But like, I have never, ever, not for 1 second, regretted leaving my old day job, even though it's a great job at the end. Like,
Mm.
I loved it. um, the the job that I had that I left when
Yeah.
I started my business, yeah, it was great. I would not ever go back.
Yeah. 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 I also sometimes think about, but no, I love what I do. I would maybe do it just for one project. They would say, okay, now, like one other big dream of mine was always to go to LA. Of course, like film industry, that's where you go. So if
Yeah,
someone just came and said, okay, Maria, we have that opportunity. Do you want like one last film job? And honestly, I would probably say, yeah, I want to.
yeah,
Just to go and see for fun, but really just because I also love my previous job. Yeah.
for sure. Funny you say LA, because having said that, I worked the London 2012 Olympics. It's going to be LA 2028.
Right.
It's going to be 16 years after my first Olympics job. But I'm quite excited about the opportunity of applying and doing just, a season, like a year or
Yes.
6 months or something, having that as an experience for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would
Yes.
love to.
Right.
It
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Um, Not for a permanent solution,
No.
no.
Yeah. No. Me neither. Me neither. No.
But I think I'm also not saying that I will teach calligraphy for the rest of
Yeah.
my life. And I think that's the beauty of running your business. It's not like a career that you always need to, prove to your employer that my track record is this, my
Yeah.
CV says this, therefore I'll be good at this, and I want to take my career to
Yeah.
this direction. Like that is so just like, oh, you have the pieces of the
Yeah.
puzzle already laid out, and you just need to follow this path. And if you want to kind of go crazy and have some other path, it's hard because you have this track record and because you have to look at what you've done previously
Yeah.
to then be able to do something in the future. Whereas as a business owner, like I can just recreate myself. I feel like endlessly. Like I just created myself a job doing calligraphy. I have no education in creative field. I just started drawing letters and then I turned it into a business, and now I'm a pioneer in my field in Finland.
That's so crazy. This is so awesome.
And at the same time, I'm doing business mentoring. So I'm mentoring other creative business owners in their path. Um, and that's something. I mean, I did a course. I got a coaching certification. So that's like a course that I did. But like, I don't need any further qualifications. I just need to have experience in this field and like work with as many clients as possible to become really good at what I do. And then I don't even need to do that for the rest of my life either. I can recreate again and again and again.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love that too. For sure. Yeah. What is it? Is it in Finland also this mindset? So I a few weeks ago I recorded a podcast. It was one of the first German ones I did about old belief systems, because again I can only speak from where I grew up. I don't know about the rest of Germany, but where I'm from, it's literally still this very old belief system of work has to be hard. If you have too much fun doing it, then it's not a job. It's it's like literally, and that is where I had my blog as well. I told you like just briefly before we started how hard it was for me to actually charge for the stuff that I'm so good at naturally, because I was always told like if it is easy, then you shouldn't be, that is nothing, then that is work has to be hard, and then the harder it is, the more you get paid, basically. Is that in Finland? Is that a belief people are still like believing?
Yeah, for sure. I recognize this definitely. I don't know if it's Finland and Germany specifically. I think it's just our like Western
Yeah,
society and cultural thing.
it is a thing. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I definitely recognize that, and I think um, it's about, yeah, like you said, recognizing what you're really good at, and then realizing that that is what you're supposed to be paid for.
Yeah,
But I also think like it's so important to break down these like beliefs, but at the same time, I feel like you do also need to work hard for your dreams, as cliched as that is, because I see like, I don't know, I see a lot of TikTok things at the moment saying that, oh, you'll just have your dream life if you just manifest it. And
no,
I'm also like, like, can you really just sit around
no.
and want things and they will, like, I'm not sure.
Mm-mm. Not
I
in
don't
my
think so.
experience. No, that is
Not in my
no,
experience either.
no.
So it's like, yeah, you have to forget the thinking that, oh, life needs to be a struggle, because it doesn't. But at the same time, if you really want something to happen, you kind of need to go for it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I give you an example, just pretty flat one, which is now because I envisioned that. I knew I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I knew I'm going to start a podcast. I just didn't know when. So when I started my business, and I already felt like, oh wow, like, because I also learned from YouTube so much. Like I also came from a complete different industry when I started, and like you, I was like, sure, I can do it. Hang on, let me quickly research it, and then you do, and it's trial and error, and then you learn, but you learn on real life experience, and that for me was always so much more than just a school that teaches hypothetical stuff. However, so basically, damn it, Aini, I lost it again. My little
Your YouTube
chit-chatting
example.
here. Yes.
How
So I knew that I'm gonna have at some point. I'm gonna have a YouTube channel, and then I will just really like document what's happening, but in real life, and not this kind of shit. Like I still read that online. Selling on Etsy first month 300K or next month, and I was like, on what world are you living on? From scratch, never ever, you guys. But no one wants to hear it. It's a nice thumbnail. It's like clickbait. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, so and I knew, hey, someday I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna go to South Africa. I'm gonna, I really want to go to the people there where I'm ordering from. I want to put them like in the spotlight and say, hey, please tell us about the traditions and this. I want to share it. And I also knew I'm gonna totally like all my network, like you, some other friends who also founded. I knew I'm going to interview them, and I had it all in my vision already. I knew that I'm going to do that.
amazing.
At some point, I'm going to have you live. So I want at some point a little studio and to really just invite people and have like longer conversations. And I could have just dreamt on. But in the end, how are you going to know that I want a podcast with you if, the idea is there, and that's important. But then I have to, first of all, create a podcast, create a YouTube channel, learn how to deal with all of that. And then I have to also invite you because you can't know that that is my plan, right? So, no, it really has to, you have to put it into motion. You have to put it into motion.
Absolutely. And there are things that have happened to me that are like magical. Like I was doing this vision board. This is years ago now. I was doing this vision board and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to write a book on calligraphy?
Yes.
It would be so amazing. And I just put it on my vision board. I had no clue on how to even start approaching this topic, or I didn't know anyone in the publishing industry, or no idea of how this would work out. But I did this work around, I don't know, New Year's, end of the year. And then in January, so like a month later, a publishing company gets in touch with me saying, would you be interested in writing a book? And I was like, holy hell, manifesting is real. Like, this just happened. Like, I manifested it. But, it turns out that I had a friend who had been in talks about writing a book, and they had put my name forward as another creative who's doing an interesting thing. And so she was there helping me without my knowing.
Yeah.
And yeah, then the ball kind of started rolling from there. So there has definitely been some things that are absolutely magical and have felt like I just manifested this for myself. But like to even get to the point where someone would suggest to me a publishing deal, I needed to do so much groundwork. I needed to already establish myself as a calligrapher and do teaching and do Instagram content where I was teaching people to do stuff and telling about pens and ink and, talk about stuff and offer workshops and really just establish myself as someone who's a professional in this field. Without that work, no one would have ever said, hey, do you want to do a book with us?
Yeah, exactly.
And so when you kind of start following and doing whatever it is that you want to do, you just go for it without even understanding where it will lead you. And then these things will sometimes just open up like opportunities like, hey, this is amazing.
Yes.
But you need to do a lot of groundwork to get to that point.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And also to hold whatever is coming next. So, like with you and your workshops, probably, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but I knew that, I was totally sure I can handle, X people. And then doing the first workshop was also like the realization, oh, I'm very glad now that it's not fully booked because that would have been not good. Like, because it really showed me my weak spots and the stuff I just did not calculate in when you are doing a workshop live. So, yeah, it is a journey.
For sure. And pricing as well.
Oh, God.
Like talking about
Oh,
workshops, I feel
God.
like the first workshop that I ever did, I think the attendance was like the ticket was about 25, 28 euros, something like
Crazy.
this for like a 3-hour workshop.
I know, I need.
And then it was full pretty quickly, and then people like it was sold out and there was a waiting list, and then just off the back of that waiting list I kept on selling the next workshops. I was like, whoa, this is popular. But I was just, every time I would increase the price and it would still fill up really
Yeah.
quickly, and so quite short amount amount of time later the price was something like 85 euros
Yeah.
for a ticket.
Yeah.
And that is a huge,
Yeah.
it's almost threefold amount of money. Um, and but I just needed to experiment and start from somewhere. And I was selling the first one ridiculously cheap,
Yeah.
but I needed that experience and have the people and have the waiting list to then
Yeah.
increase the price. And but
Yeah.
you just have to learn this stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. I spoke to my other friend who also owns a company, and she also said, "Oh my God, can you believe it that I sold that? So the product now is 180 or so." And she said, my first one I sold was 45 bucks." And the problem is because, like you said earlier, you have no real role model for it because let's say H&M. So let's just say you are designing clothes. So what H&M offers is a complete different story to what someone handmade offers. And first of all, that's what I realized too. Like I also made my products too cheap, and it's like in the end, because with the service, the good thing is you set it up once, and then you have a proper product. The best case scenario is you have the excellent product, and then it just resell it, resell it, resell it. But now with the products, you always have to reinvest straight back into the raw materials and get that, and then the price fluctuates as well. And it's just that I also, yeah, I really was convinced that can just go over the quantity because it's such a great quality, and then because I have direct access to all my farms, I cut out all the middlemen. I can keep it as low as possible. And in the end, people are still going for lower. So if you really just like go over the price, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. So you have to go the value and the quality. That's for me at least, and not the price, because otherwise you lose the big companies. They just don't care, and they just throw it out for nothing. And I cannot compete with it. I don't want to, but yeah, also learning curve.
And I think for us, like small business owners, the personality is always the one that people are
Mm.
attracted to. Like, I fully believe in the saying that people buy from people. And that, whereas, yeah, I can't compete in prices with massive, mega um, corporates.
Mm.
But what I can compete on is that they are kind of just, what's the word? There's like no face. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even, but you think about a big corporation that are offering something, and it's just a big corporation offering something. But whereas it's like it's Aini or Maria offering
Mm.
something, it's like, hey, this is a person, they are doing an amazing thing. They really live and love and breathe their product and pour their love into it. And they do this with a passion.
Yeah.
And this is like, obviously not everyone is going to be able to pay a premium for that, but
Yeah.
the
Yes.
there is a clientele who appreciate this
Yes.
above pretty much anything else.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and thank God there is. Like, I'm always so happy to see that so many people are really into it, as you said. Like, of course, there's a big chunk that just wants it very, just fast and the best for the lowest price. And it's just destroying little small companies. I know that from my experience selling on Amazon, because I was also like, no, you know what? I want to give everyone the opportunity to sell hassle free. And Amazon really is that beauty of you can sell around the world from, you can even start. There was no like minimum orders you had to start with. Like DHL, for instance, they want almost 8,000 units in 1 year. And when you start, that's just crazy. You're never
Mm.
going to sell that. So, and that's a starting. So that's not even, that's the lowest they do. And Amazon just says, hey, whatever, we have, that's our pricing. You can start immediately, no questions asked. Yeah, obviously you have to be confirmed with the regulations in the country, but you just start. And how amazing is that? And also to give the opportunity to a global audience to purchase my products. And I also always thought, because people were like, yeah, but Amazon and they're bad and this and that. I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of downsides to it, of course, but just to offer you guys the opportunity, hassle free. Because why do you go to Amazon? Because it's just one click. You're always logged on. It's like click, 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 done. And I
Mhm.
wanted to, why do I make it hard to find amazing stuff? You know, it should be easy to find like eco-friendly, beautiful, like wholesome products. And yes, of course, then I go to the platform that makes it very easy to purchase them. But also, like, this journey was a very interesting one. Also, the customers. And that is one thing where I'm like, now, okay, you know what? I'm probably like, the shop is down already to a minimum, and I'm not going to sell on Amazon anymore. That's also a journey I did. I couldn't have made it here without Amazon, I must say, because I definitely was like, that was a, I was very successful selling there, but then it's
Mhm.
just the money they take from you. And then after tax, and it's literally you stay with 10%. And it's like, whoa, how am I supposed to actually make it anywhere?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's also like this error, and like really just try to tweak it. And then at some point also realize, okay, as much as I wanted right now, if I look at the numbers, that's what many people don't do often, or I don't know, maybe they look at it and they don't know, I don't know, or this, oh, I'm just making a wish now. Yes, you can do that, but also like stay in touch with the reality, and really like also decide, even if it was a hard decision, but where is that going? You know, I'm running myself into the ground. So yeah,
Mhm.
yep, hard decisions, hard decisions.
Hard decisions, and I still like thinking about the pricing. Um, I'm just this week I got an inquiry from a client that is like a world-known name in like beauty and home decor,
Mm.
and they are looking for a calligrapher for their like Christmas event in their store to do like customizing live at
Yes.
in their store. And this is something that I've done with a couple of clients. So when I'm in Finland and when I'm available, I
Yeah.
this is the kind of gig that I love to
Yeah.
do. And so, whereas I'm very set nowadays with prices for my workshops and prices for my online courses,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the value and
Mm-hmm.
I stand behind it and I will not give discounts to anyone,
Yeah.
then something like this comes along and I feel like, oh, it will look so good in my portfolio if I'm there. And because this is such a well-known brand, and then I can hopefully put them on my list of clients and it will sound really
Yeah.
fancy. And I love going out and taking my art in front of
Yes.
people watching live. Like that is always exciting for me. And I'm like, I'm quite happy to do this job for like very little money because I get so much more out of it.
Yeah.
But then so there is really a difference. Like I hate it when some people just give discounts where they are not,
Yeah.
where they shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's because there is this like, if this is what you get your living from, then
Yeah.
there needs to be a price and you stand behind it. And but if you're at the beginning and you need the experience, I think that's a
Yes. Yes.
good
You.
place to
Yes.
give a discount for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Yes.
But then later on, don't,
Yeah.
unless there is a reason that you really, if it's a job that you would quite happily even just do it for
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
so then just do it for free,
Yeah.
or like just a very minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, I did send a proposal with a really decent quote, but I went through the thinking that, oh, if they're not able to pay this, then I'll do it for a lot less as well, just because why not, for fun.
Yeah.
My job is still for fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but isn't it amazing that you have the luxury now to also do that?
Yeah.
And that's important. And what you said is very, very right. And I went through this, and where I also, gave like, oh, I want to help you because I knew I could help that person. In a, coming from, I wish I had known it before. So if it's just about that, then hey, come, I give you, like a discount. And always like, but they must understand how valuable it is, and obviously they're going to come back. But then no, it is completely wrong. Like this law of attraction thing is completely off, because they should, if you want the best quality, you should be able to, and even if you save up, that's just what it is. And if you are just in for like a cheap product or like any product, then yeah, then please, you keep your money, I keep my products. I had to learn that.
Hmm.
I really had to learn it, because I also come from, I know I can help you. I know I can make the problems you have with your skin, I can make it go away. In like 2 months' time, I can help you. Yeah, I don't know. Some people, I don't know. I just also said to a friend, like, maybe they have to suffer a little more. Maybe they just don't trust me yet. Or maybe they are just too cheap. Like sometimes, especially when they get out the latest iPhone, and the fancy stuff that costs so much money. And I'm like, okay, no, 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 you have the money. You are just not willing to pay, for that. So yeah, it definitely, I had to. It was tough though, because I definitely now also, like what you say with your, when you started 26 or 28 or what it was for the live shop. And isn't it crazy? Crazy. But yeah, I also believe, no, no, I can do it. Yeah, no. You also have to pay your bills. You have to pay the place, your office, all of that.
Mm.
And yeah, so it's not just a hobby. And that's why you said it is so right. Like it has to sustain you.
Yeah, I had a mentor actually in my very, very first year of business. And she said to me, because I was full of excitement and I was in this mindset where I'm ready to do this work for no money. And she was really right. It didn't resonate with me then, but it does now for sure. And she said, listen, it's all good if you get this minimum income now. You're full of excitement, you want the
Yeah.
experience, you're only just building your business and your reputation. But long term, you're going to want to have more things in your life.
Yeah.
You're going to want to have a family, maybe, or, some other
A
hobbies
house.
that are expensive, or
Yeah.
a house,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot base your future on these calculations.
Yeah.
These are okay for now, but for
Yeah.
longer term, they are not.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe her then. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I love this. I will always do this. This is
Yes.
the most important thing in my life. But now, 6 years
Yeah.
later, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of glad I listened.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so important, that like, I wish I had this knowledge before, but then maybe I wouldn't have listened. I don't know. But yeah, we went through this. But isn't it amazing? Because now our advice is actually is based on real life events and not some trend or some
Yeah,
random marketing strategy. So, and I find that is such a beauty.
I think so too. It is nice to learn from experience and learn from mistakes. I mean, it's not nice in the moment,
No.
but in the long run, I feel like it's what teaches us. So I feel like I'm better at business now because I have not just listened to someone, but I've actually kind of had the experience of building something,
Mm. Mm.
and that won't be taken away from me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you have the knowledge. So even if something happens or someone closes down, whatever government comes and says, no, we're going to close it down, you can always reopen and rebuild. And with all the knowledge, it's going to go so much faster and probably 10 times bigger. So you always have that. And that's an investment. That's also what I
Hmm.
always say. Like, listen, yes, that is a number, that is the money you pay, but what you get, you have for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
So, yeah. What would
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
no, you go.
go on.
What because you're doing also the mentoring program, what would you say is from from your experience working with people one on one, what is like what's the biggest issue with most, they many people, get maybe to the point of, oh, I'm founding now, but then they never make it to year 3 or 5. What would you say, what's the biggest issue there?
Mm, well, what I mostly work with, or whom I work with, or what I mostly help people with is um, okay, so I work with creative entrepreneurs, and stereotypics are stereotypics. Not everyone goes into this box, but
Mm.
it's likely that creative people who follow their excitement are often excited and good at multiple things. They want to be doing a lot of things rather than just one. Um, so, a lot of people relate with this kind of idea of being just, doesn't even need to be a creative field. It doesn't have to be photography or something like this,
Mm-hmm.
but just having this creative mindset of like multi-passionate idea of, you know,
Yeah.
so I call all this creative. And so what's common to these people quite often, myself included, is that we love exploring and creating new
Yeah.
things and going with the flow and just fulfilling our dreams and, having this crazy, chaotic, beautiful life where things just happen.
Yeah.
And then when you want to turn this into a business, you quite often end up underpricing yourself. Um, Often quite unsure about how to take space in, or how to take a stage in that marketing or sales can feel tricky, difficult. It's difficult to put yourself out there and be like, hey, I'm really good at this,
Yeah.
where actually you feel like you're kind of semi good at multiple things, And calculations like Excel spreadsheets are a nightmare. And I don't want to look at numbers because numbers are bad and tricky and awful. And so this is where I kind of find that my biggest help is with people, is with because I'm working in the creative field and I really am this kind of chaotic, beautiful, multi-passionate, whatever. Like I know what that's like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I come from a commercial background. Like I do know business, if you like. Like numbers are great.
Yeah.
I love numbers.
Me
I
too.
love talking about money. I like Excel spreadsheets because they are really helpful.
Yeah.
I like creating processes. I'm like a strategic thinking is my vibe. And so this is where I help people. And so asking this question that you did, what's the biggest struggle? I feel like at least for my clientele, this is where the biggest struggle is. Like they want to do all of these things, but they don't really know how to make it sustainable, how to turn their passion into a business. And so that's where I feel like my work is most fruitful when I can help someone look at a spreadsheet and make it really simple and be like, this is how this can help you understand your business better. Look at what's happening. For example, someone selling multiple products, they don't necessarily even know which ones of their products and services are performing the best because you need to look at data to find out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are scared of looking at data. They are scared of looking at what happened in their sales last month.
I'm
And
the
so,
opposite. I can't wait. Okay, I want to see that now. How is it going?
right. But this is what gives you insights that you can then build upon. So if you're just guessing, then that can only ever take you so far.
Yeah.
But then you start building insights and understanding, and you often need to look at numbers to have that.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying this is the biggest struggle with all entrepreneurs, but it's definitely a struggle that I work with a lot.
Yeah.
But just in general, I feel like what is very modern and very current, and what I'm really frustrated with, and I guess we're all guilty of this, is that we want things to be really perfect before we can do them. And so, for an example, starting a business, especially being kind of creative and visual, I might just be thinking about logo and branding and the brand voice and be looking at endless YouTube tutorials and endless branding guides and endless color combinations of how to make everything look as pretty as possible. And you can spend 6 months, a year, 2 years just focusing on this because actually what it is that you're scared to go out there and publish whatever it is that you want to do. And I think that social media is making it even worse because there is so much information on how to do this, and then it's so available, and then you feel like, oh, I need to be able to handle all of this information and know everything about everything before I can say, hey, here's my product, buy it.
Yes.
Or hey, here is whatever service I want to provide. And hey, I'm really good at graphic design, so buy my service, So like it's difficult for me to say I'm really good at something when I can just open my phone and see millions of examples of people being way better than me at this. So how can I ever flourish and be confident in my skill?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. And there we are back to my very first, what I told you before. Like the first question is I usually get, how do you start? And that's exactly it, probably. Yeah. And then I ask you that, and you're like, what do you mean? Like, you just start. I'm like, yeah, I know. You just literally start.
do something, do
Yes,
anything, like
anything.
literally do any one thing
Yeah, register
and then
it
do the
or
next.
yeah, whatever, really. Yeah, definitely. So you agree with that, right? There's no getting ready, do this course and then you can do it. No, you just literally
Do it.
do it.
Just do it.
Yes. Oh, is that beautiful? Yeah, but what you said earlier with the whole thing, like we want to do it all. I unfortunately myself, I'm just a perfectionist, which is not bad, but it can create exactly these issues. So there's nothing wrong with like wanting to have the best service you can create. Of course, you should always strive for, I want to give the best to my customers or clients. But then, as you said, you kind of can get lost along the way. And I also had to learn like the numbers. I'm with you. I love it. I love, that's fun. Like it's once a week. I have a date with myself and I just look at, okay, what's going, how is it? And then just, oh, I love it. It's exciting. And what I wasn't good at was always the online stuff, like everything to do with the computer, like
Mhm.
spreadsheets. And I'm like, oh, eek. I always had like I write everything down, but it can only bring you so far because at some point you need to calculate quickly. So I always have like smart now. I use those spreadsheets. Like I change one number, everything changes to that number, and I just to give me a rough overview. And I did it exactly what you said. I just made friends with it. I just really understood it helps me. Yes, it's annoying because it's new to me. But if I make friends with it, it can bring me so much further. And now I'm so glad I don't have to write my invoices, like everything I sell, like 200 orders a month or what. Imagine I had to write my invoices myself. I'm so glad there's a smart software doing that for me. Oh dear
Right?
God, yes. And then also, you couldn't do anything else. That's what I would be doing, writing invoices.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do yourself. That brings me to another one. That's one where I am always like, oof, I would never employ people, and I would not employ them. But now I would definitely ask for more help and outsource. Back
Mhm.
in the day, I couldn't because I didn't have the money. But also, if I had, I would have been very reluctant. I would have said, but no, like, no, I can do it. But the truth is, no, there are specialties, and now I would most like pay happily to get someone to get it done. Like social media is one thing I happily give over to someone else. The podcast, never. Obviously, I need that. Or like the numbers, I need a good accountant, but I will always run my own spreadsheets to just keep in mind what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would definitely get help advertising because advertising is such a big thing and it's so important. And honestly, it just sometimes drives me crazy. So no, give it to someone who knows what he or she is doing. So yeah.
Yes, I have struggled with outsourcing quite a lot. I feel like I have tried several things, and first thing was um, to have a VA, a virtual
Mm.
assistant, so someone who's kind of organizing administrative stuff and does everything online. And I think I've had three different VAs with slightly different like focuses. So one was really just admin, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was another one that was really kind of social media, marketing, Pinterest, all
Mm-hmm.
of this. And then there was a third one who was kind of doing when I was running my Formula the membership.
Yeah.
So she was doing a lot of the kind of admin to do with that, but more from the website management
Okay.
perspective and marketing. So there were three different people that I worked with, and I because I wanted to outsource a part of my business that was taking up a lot of my time,
Mm.
and I felt like someone else could do that too. And I think this is where I went a little bit wrong with it because every time with all of these different people, so it wasn't the people, it was me.
Mm.
But what ended up happening is that I was just so busy briefing them that I almost felt like I would more easily do this myself. And with my social media, like I talk about calligraphy, so I would be first teaching my assistant,
Yes.
about this
Yes.
stuff so that she could create
Yeah.
content about it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this makes no sense. And then by the end of it, with this third one, I was like, I've had two experiences and they were not great. So let's start with a 3-month contract and we'll try to make this work. And if not, but I played it out from the beginning. I was like, this is how I want to
Yeah.
try it out. And then 3 months later, I was like, no, it's still not working. So I was like,
Oh,
freaking hell, like I need
okay.
to do this. I somehow need to change this.
Yeah.
And so, do you know what is currently happening? Is I have outsourced successfully, finally, but I did it very differently to before. And I'm now working, it's like a marketing agency,
Yeah.
and they are doing my funnels.
Hmm.
So, like online marketing funnels for me, which is something that I had before, but I wasn't really good at it.
Hmm.
And so I'm doing all of this myself. I'm doing my administration myself. I'm doing my social media myself. I'm doing all of these things myself that I was too busy briefing people because I know how to do it better.
Yeah.
But my funnels, someone else is doing
Yeah.
because they are fantastic at it.
Yeah.
And the results are so good as a result. And
Nice.
I feel like this is okay. Now I found a way where this makes sense.
Yes.
It's kind of the same as doing your accounts versus an accountant doing them for you. But I feel like in this marketing field, it was more difficult for me to find a way to outsource in a way that works.
Yeah. For sure.
And so now I feel like a part of my business is taken by someone who's doing it way better than I
Hmm.
ever could. And they are running Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and then
Yeah.
the whole funnel from there, which is something that I kind of tried, but it was always a bit tricky and difficult
Yeah.
and stuff. Now they do all of it.
Nice.
Yes, fantastic. But I'm
Awesome.
still doing my social media because
Yeah.
I'm the only one who can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're so good at it. I love you. Like whenever I give examples and I always speak of like two friends I'm looking for, like you're one of the friends I'm looking to when I'm doing social media. I'm like, for me it's a love-hate relationship. But then I look at you and it's just so because you are still you. And again, I know you from before. So, but you are still playing with this, I don't know what it is, social media thing, but you are still you. And I think you really combine it very beautifully to
Thank
go
you.
with what's going on, like, do it trendy, like very modern, but you are still you. And for me, when I am me on social media, it's like, okay, no one is really interested in that because it's probably too real. Because I don't do this beautiful, like, oh, forever, and oh, you have like a wrinkle. Oh, that's not good. You need that. I'm like, all for wrinkles. It's like, yeah, so what? You age. Duh, it's okay, But instead, like, give your skin other nutritions, like stop the alcohol in your products, That does a lot already. Have good night's sleep. So it's this and this, like, no one wants to hear that. It's like, okay, whatever. But now
You're
when
too real.
I'm too real, I'm too real for
Too real for
that.
social media.
Yes. And I'm like, oh God. But listen, that's the problem. Like, I love creating these slides and content. And it's so creative. Like, oh, I love it. Like playing around. It's like very much reminds me of my old job. But then also my boyfriend is like, hey, babe, you love it. Everyone can see that because they are beautiful, the slides and everything I write, and then sometimes in two languages and what. And he's like, but the hours you spend, and look, they are not bringing in any customers. They are not, performing. So really, and then we had that talk, and it was so good to actually have that, like what we have now. It's so easy if you are not the person in the situation. So you need someone from the outside who actually says, here, listen, like really look again back to the numbers. So, and yes, it is all fun and games, but you can also do fun and games once you have paid, once you have the money in to actually, go and play. And I was like, oh, I really want to, but that's where I come in. Like, no one else can do it like I do now. I'm like, oh, whatever, I give it to you. I'm gonna give you a brief, and then you do your job, and I can go finally back to mine. But yeah, no, I'm not. Like, you are so good at it and so successful. And I know another friend who doesn't even have a website, Aini, and she is just by being her on social media, like but globally, like successful. And I'm just like in awe, like wow.
It is crazy when I sometimes just feel like, oh, I'm just doing this and whatever, and just saying hi and showing my face and doing the same old thing and just being, because then I compare myself to these beautifully curated, stunning professional photographs, like super romantic calligraphy sites and
Yeah,
pages and Instagram accounts. And I'm like, wow, like
yeah,
everything's, slow motion and there's this like one pen stroke and it's so stunning. And mine is more like, hey, I'm doing this, and hey, I'm teaching you how to do this, and like, ta-da, and I love this, and now I'm packing boxes, and now I'm traveling, and da-da-da. And you know, my style is very different, but I'm comparing to this really
Yeah.
beautiful. But then it's a reminder, uh, like not daily, not always weekly, but very regularly anyway, I receive messages from people saying they get so much inspiration and so much energy from just my content.
Yeah.
And I don't even really know how or why, but I just feel like what I show is my passion for calligraphy
Mm,
in multiple different ways. And that's just it. And I
mm.
feel like doing that for years now, again and again and again, and using my creativity in like how I talk about it in multiple different ways. Like what I'm really talking about is pens and ink and letters day in, day out.
Yeah.
But somehow I just managed to find this way of talking about it, just like drawing from my own passion towards the topic. And then that is so meaningful for people. And I'm
Mm.
like, that's all it needs.
Yeah. And very beautiful. It's just very beautiful. I love the sound as well, like the
Yeah.
it
A
does
lot of
on the
people say it's
paper.
like ASMR.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you open like a Coke bottle of beer and it does this, somehow it's like ooh,
Yeah.
and your pen and paper makes the same for me. It's like oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sound. And to be honest, that's something that it's like when you get the nib and the paper and you practice yourself and it's quiet and you maximum have a candle burning and there is no other sound than just the light scratching of the nib on the paper.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
like, to me, that's meditation, that's calming, that's relaxation.
Weren't
I
you at some point wearing like a watch that was actually measuring your pulse, and then while you had this course, it went down or something like that?
It's a client of mine. It's someone who took part in my workshop. After the workshop, they sent me a screenshot of their activity, like the activity watch
Oh,
for the day, and the relaxation she felt and experienced during the workshop was deeper than she had when she was sleeping.
no way.
Yes. Yes way. Like literally a 3 hour workshop for her was
Great.
more relaxing and more yeah, more calming than her sleep that night.
Oh my God.
Like
Isn't that
I have proof.
what a huge compliment that is, no? I mean, wow. Wow, crazy. Oh, okay. See, I thought it was you tracking it, but how wonderful of her to show to like share it
I
with you.
don't yeah, I don't get the sleepy mode when I'm teaching. That's always like I think my heart rate is up for sure. But for the people who take part,
Yeah,
that's how relaxing it can be.
yeah. I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Do you still do live workshops in Finland?
For businesses who book me in to do their like after work activity
Yeah.
or something like this, yes. These workshops that I have at my studio and I sell tickets to individual people,
Mm,
I've done dozens, if not hundreds of those over the years, but I kind of stopped now.
mm.
It's for two reasons, really. One reason being that I have done them so often that I kind of want to explore more
Yeah.
things or other things. I still enjoy them. I would do them, but I had a stalker who first came to my workshop and then kept stalking me from that. And then he obviously knew where I lived, where I worked, but then also found out where I lived because he was following me.
Oh my God.
And then because being on TV and now being kind of like a public
Yeah.
figure,
Yeah.
um, I stopped doing the live workshops.
Oh
Not because I'm
my.
scared as such, but I'm thinking I'm taking a break from
Mm,
those, just because I don't want to put myself in a situation like that again.
mm.
Um, and so yeah, currently on a break from live workshops, but if someone books me to do like a specific one for their
Yeah.
group, yes, I'll do it happily. I love it.
Cool. Nice.
And maybe one day I'll do them at my
Yeah.
studio again, but currently no.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good to know because I just a couple of days ago I had another one. I'm manifesting, and it's good to know that you're still doing it because someone, a friend of mine, she just said like, "Hey, we have this beautiful place, and I was wondering, do you want to host a retreat?" And it's funny because when I talked about it, I was like, "I'm never going to do a retreat, but I'm bookable for that." And now she's like, "Hey, don't you want to do a retreat?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I don't. But now let me think about it. Who would I invite?" And you are on my list. So I was like, wouldn't
Oh,
that be nice to have I can give a class, and then I can ask Aini and she can come. And I was like, I wrote it down and I'm like, okay, that feels good and nice. Good to know you are up for that. So yeah, let's see what
oh, for
happens.
sure. These
Nice.
experiences, yes, always.
That will be happening in Mallorca, just a heads up.
I did a workshop actually in Sri Lanka.
Oh,
It was so
nice.
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 Super nice.
Oh yeah, that is the best. Oh yeah, talking work and travel. So your travel plans are pretty amazing for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, is
thinking
that
of,
a secret?
yeah.
It is
No, it's not a
okay.
secret. No, no,
Okay, I
no,
was like,
no, no,
oh
no.
no, and now I said it.
No, it's not a secret. It's definitely happening, and I'm happy to talk about it. But it's all up in the air, so not many things are booked yet. But the plan is to um, go to South Africa,
Mhm.
go to Cape Town at some point in December, maybe go to Kenya for a few weeks holiday before that,
Nice.
and then settle into Cape Town for 4 or 5 months.
Oh,
So that will be all of early next year,
oh,
just so that
so
I don't need
amazing.
to be looking at the snow and slush and ice and cold and darkness of Finland at that
Oh
time of
yes.
the year.
For sure. For sure. For me it's the darkness and the grayness in Berlin.
Yeah,
Holy shit. No. It makes me feel so sad inside. I don't know. I need the sun. Oh, Cape Town, my soul city. Or
it is
give it a
beautiful.
big hug. But who knows? Maybe at some point I can fulfill my dream and to go back there and also host a workshop. And then maybe when you are still there, how amazing would that be to just literally buddy up and just organize something over there in Cape Town? Oh, that would be amazing, magical
For
even.
sure.
Nice,
For sure.
nice. Oh, is that cool? So, and that means you basically, while you are abroad, you basically work only online. So you,
Only
yeah.
online, fully, which is, I would say, 85% of what I do anyway. But so what that means is that I have now various calligraphy and lettering workshops or online
Mm.
courses. So those, and then my coaching.
Yeah. Oh,
And I actually want to. The coaching business is a small part of what I do now, but I feel like there's potential for growth there, and that's something I think is really nice to have my calligraphy business, which is really set and rolling, and uh, and it feels easy, and I feel confident around it because I know what I'm doing and I know
yeah.
I'm good at it, and all of these good feelings where you feel like yes, and
Yeah.
I'm on a roll. So that's the feeling that I have around the calligraphy stuff. And then my new coaching business is more like I'm like working one to one with people now, but I'm exploring ways to extend the offering, but I want to do it. Um, I feel like I want to do it a little bit differently to how a lot of people do it. I have some ideas that
Mm.
I want to explore and develop further. And that's kind of like a next big step for me
Yeah.
as to what that will look like.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very thrilled to see. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also just coming out from the process. So as I said to you earlier, like I was like, okay, now with my location and the logistics. So when you sell products, logistic is a big one.
Yeah.
And I'm also now, I went through this whole stage of, okay, what else can I do? Again, I found the meditation that really helped me to just like, okay, like mentally escape this madness and to really like, okay, but what do I have? What can I offer now? What can I offer from the road? And then you obviously get these ideas of, hey, I can actually also like just offer one-on-one services. People can, in real life, online, and we just connect and yeah, basically teach or whatever it really is in in the business you do. So yeah, I totally know what it's like and how exciting it is. And so yeah, no matter how long I've been doing it, I've been self-employed 15 years almost. Isn't that
Mm.
crazy? But still,
Mm-hmm.
like every new little thing is like, oh my, it's exciting again.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, and you never know. Like even though you've been super excited with the one thing, it does not mean that suddenly, you are super excited, not successful with the next. So that's always also very, yeah, it's just
The
always like,
thrill
"What?"
of it,
Yeah, yeah.
getting
So
to build something new
yeah.
and being curious around it. And
Mm.
yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah, for sure. I just know I'm not a group person, so that's funny. I've made that decision pretty early on, so I'm not going to offer any group. Like, I'm happy to go, as I said earlier, like to a hotel and brief the staff and just have, like a group session. But what I really like is the one-on-one deep dive, because that is what I always, search for, or what I'm happy for, to have this really like this 1 hour, 2 hours of just really undivided time and just really going into my issues instead of, oh, let's share what everyone else brings to the table. I'm like, no, right now I'm here for me. And so I'm very good with that. I know what it's like. And I also love to focus on one person. So I really hope I can somehow make it happen. And yeah, maybe join you in Cape Town for the winter season.
Yeah,
That is
I'm sure
nice.
you will. It's always, it's again a bit of a cliche, but one of my favorite sayings or guidelines is hold the vision, trust the process. And I think it's like, yeah, that's beautiful, but you need to have the vision first.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's so also some people struggle with, but you clearly have a vision there.
Yeah.
You have a
For sure.
vision.
Yep. 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 Yeah, no, that is not my problem. Like vision is there. Like
Yeah,
that is more for me. I really had to work on my patience. So I always wanted to have it like now or tomorrow,
right.
or like why is it still not? And it should be. And so I really had to work on that a lot as well. You know, it takes time.
Hmm.
It takes time. It's like a little seedling you plant, and it takes time
Yeah.
until you can pick the first fruit from the grown tree. Yeah, and it's
And
normal.
needs a lot of
Yeah,
love and
yeah,
watering and nourishment.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm kidding. My boyfriend, aka producer, is like giving me a little sign. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah. I know, completely drifting away here. But oh, Aini, I am so glad we made it.
right.
We
I
are,
know.
it's so much fun. And I wanna see you. I'm going to re-invite you at some point, and then we're just gonna share what we've done in the meantime. And it's just, I
Awesome.
find it so nice to really just announce that, to really take people on the journey of the process, from the vision, from the idea, to actually, hey, what actually happened in real
Hmm.
life within 1 year, let's say, and I find it so cool to say, like, hey, look back a year ago. We said we're going to do this and this and that, and now we are meeting again, and that happened. So, yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
Very excited.
Sounds good. Thank you. It's been so nice to chat.
Yeah, amazing, Aini. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing all of this, because I know many people have issues to talk about, certain struggles or money and what. So it's really nice to have this honest conversation.
For sure. That's what I believe as well. There is so much fluff in the world
Yeah,
already.
yeah, yeah.
The world doesn't need any more fluff.
Nope. Nope, nope,
I
nope.
mean, yeah,
A
we
little, a
getting
little,
sometimes
a
a
little.
little bit. Fluff is always nice, but it's also nice to have
Yes.
something actual
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. A little fairy dust is nice.
Yeah, for sure. Needed, much needed.
Awesome. Anya, thank you so much. And I
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to chat with you again. And yeah, until then, I just wish you the very best. And yeah, this little extra fairy dust we just talked about. Yeah,
Exactly. A
nice.
little bit of that. I
Yes.
mean, a lot of that. Thank you so much. It's been super nice.
Likewise. Aini, until the next time.
Until next time.
Goodbye. Ciao.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was Aini for you, sharing her story. And it was a real pleasure for me to also talk to her, because, as I said, we know each other from back in the day. And it's just, so cool to see where we are all heading and going, and, just the journey called life. So it was a real pleasure for me as well. If you want to check out her online workshops, head over to kalligrafiastudio.com. But just a heads up, everything is in Finnish. So if you still want to work with Aini and are like, no, I totally feel called, I want to work with her one-on-one for the mentoring program, that is not an issue at all, because the one-on-ones she happily does in English too. Or if you do have a retreat or anything like a little group private event happening, not a problem at all. She can do them in English and in Finnish. So just reach out to her. I will link everything below, and social media obviously, and just head over, check it out. It's really, really fun to just follow along and watch her journey. It's very beautiful. As we said, sometimes it's just some meditation happening when you hear the nice little sound on the paper. So go over and check it out. All right, thank you guys for tuning in today and for listening to our conversation. I am very excited to host you in the next one. Until then, ciao.